We have some new updates on the HBO Harry Potter series, and they give us some major clues about how the show is prioritising character depth and personal storylines. Between unexpected casting calls and newly surfaced interviews, it's becoming clear that HBO isn't just adapting the plot. They're unearthing the hidden layers of the characters we thought we knew. Let's jump in. First, HBO has officially issued an urgent casting call for Ginny Weasley for Season 2, following Gracie Cochran's departure from the role. But even more interestingly, there are casting calls circulating for a Baby Harry. This pretty much confirms that we'll be getting Baby Harry flashbacks in Season 2, and perhaps even ones other than the night at Godric's Hollow. It's no secret that HBO wants to give these characters real narrative depth, and the evidence is building. We've seen the leaked photos that surfaced of what looked like a young Lily and James filming a candid sequence in a park, meaning we could be getting scenes completely separate from the attack at Godric's Hollow. Following that up with a brand new casting call for a Baby Harry, it could imply the writers are using these flashbacks to flesh out their personal storylines, giving us a much closer look at Harry's early years than the films ever attempted. But what's really interesting is a newly surfaced video of Bertie Carvel, who has been cast as Cornelius Fudge. He breaks down his early thoughts on the role, and it points to a massive shift away from the bumbling politician we saw in the original films. Instead of treating Fudge simply as a superficial politician, Carvel is openly analysing the character's deeper psychology. He mentioned he wants to truly develop Fudge as a character and tell his story, specifically saying, "I know what story I would like to tell about a man who, in a darkening world, with an incomprehensible evil looming, a man in a position of power who has to kind of confront his own deep well of terror and fear. It's like he's somebody who has been traumatised." Carvel has clearly done some incredible research into Fudge's backstory and character development. He points out that Fudge lived through the prehistory of the main story, the brutal First Wizarding War. He looks at the peace of 1991 as a fragile return to normal, explaining that when the darkness starts creeping back, Fudge faces a tragic human choice of whether to dare confront it. If HBO leans into this perspective, it changes the entire dynamic of both the Minister and the Ministry of Magic. He is showing Fudge as a fearful man who chooses ignorance simply because the truth of a second war is too terrifying to face. This makes me really intrigued to see how his version of Fudge will handle the Malfoy family. In the books, we know Fudge is easily swayed and heavily influenced by Lucius Malfoy. Johnny Flynn was cast as Lucius pretty early on along with Fudge, implying that their characters needed to be established early. This suggests they have a certain amount of scenes in the early seasons that aren't actually in the books, meaning we might get extended off-page scenes showing the exact manipulation of Fudge. This toxic relationship peaks in the second book when the Chamber of Secrets reopens. When Lucius Malfoy swoops into Hogwarts with a suspension order to remove Dumbledore as headmaster, Fudge just stands by and lets it happen. If the series builds up Fudge's internal trauma early on, this moment takes on a whole new meaning. Fudge isn't just letting Lucius call the shots because he's weak. He's doing it because Lucius is feeding his fear. By getting rid of Dumbledore, Lucius is removing the one man who forces Fudge to face the reality of the darkening world, allowing Fudge to retreat right back into his comfortable state of denial. This level of psychological depth isn't just isolated to the Ministry either. It seems to be the blueprint for the entire adult cast. We've already heard John Lithgow compare the show's prestige structure to The Crown, discussing the complexity of Dumbledore's character, who is driven by internal hidden grief. And with Papa Esiadu taking on a highly anticipated, layered version of Snape, the creative team led by the minds behind Succession seems to be building an intense, grounded drama, focusing on character depth. But what do you think? Do you think it would benefit the show to have Fudge's character developed a bit more? Or do you prefer the more bumbling style of Fudge that was in the films? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more Wizarding World Lore deep dives, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next update.